Whoa, now what's happening with the world? Some man file shot and reporting on the Bamboozled again news network. It's been about a couple weeks since I went live. You know what I mean? See if I can hop in the jump, but again, come kind of time restricted, I'm just hop straight into it. Now I'm gonna cover, my thoughts on the immigration alligator Alcatraz type demonstration, right? But right before I hopped on here, a partner of mine had inboxed me. Now I currently live in Cambridge, Maryland, on Maryland's Eastern Shore. Um, Outside of, like Harriet Tubman days and so on, like Underground Railroad, it's not a whole lot for the town to grasp onto historically, right? Outside of Jay-Z's dealings, I guess early 90s, here in this particular town, right? So my homeboy sent me, and I seen it earlier from somebody else, of some other hometown hero who takes a picture with Jay-Z. I seen it, okay, cool, whatever. So then, my homeboy was explaining to me how the town of Cambridge is in great morale and, you know, hometown heroes taking a legend with Jay-Z who hasn't been here in 30 years. And I'm like, and this is my problem with the Negro community. I'm like, the morale is up because a drug dealer who destroyed the community 30 years ago um, takes a picture with somebody from the hometown, and we're supposed to be happy about this. But again, I talk about these symbolic victories, but the town is actually worse than it's ever been. But somehow we happy for someone who has the ability, in theory, to change the plight of said town families. He has a child here he don't take care of. And that's not snitching. The whole town know this. But we're grasping on to, I don't know what we're grasping on to at this point, but how does that make us happy? How? That's why I don't resonate with the average Negro. Because another Negro take a picture with a Negro, and none of these Negro put money in your pocket, have changed your situation. Maybe the people you still deal with, maybe they got dirt on them, or they know each other's secrets, so on and so forth. Hey, Miss Pearl, what's happening with it? But that's insane to me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like no structural change, no spiritual change. We're basically again praising a satanic rapper for taking a picture with somebody, whose heyday was probably 30 years ago. Well, what's up? What's up with it, who along? But now that I got that little segment out the way, this is what I really wanted to get into, right? Now we all know about the Alcatraz. What was that? The alligator Alcatraz, right? Um, the illegal immigration. One day they're illegal immigrants, one day they're migrants, right? And I was thinking last night about how they've been bamboozled again, and this is no different. Little different seasoning about um, how they set social conditions, let's say during the 60s, 70s with the Negro. So, he got his household, at least 70, 80 was, two-parent household, whatever. We start standing up. So then what they do, right? So they de-industrialize the inner cities, you know what I'm saying? They come in with the feminism and that kind of thing's happening. They close down the plants and stuff like that, inflation start going up, whatever. So man got to do something, right? So, you ain't got no job now. So you can either get on these drugs that's now come out of nowhere. You can get on these drugs or you can sell them, not realizing they're putting you in the game. If you do the drugs, you're completely, neutralized. If you sell the drugs, you're actually funding our social campaign to destroy the very community you're in for selfish purposes. And then when we feel like it, we'll lock you up and then we'll make money off of you being in jail. Then maybe, best if you turn your life around or however that works, then you can, modern day hop on a podcast and glorify the very thing that made you lose your life, your family, someone else raise your kids, woo da woo da woo da woo, right? So in relation to the Spanish, right? Now we also know this outside of the political paradigm, right? Where they was allowing these people over here. Well, why would they do that? Or how did they do that? Because it makes no sense, and this is the part we can't get around about how. So, and one of my bigger videos earlier on was immigration in my small town, in which like 8, 9 o'clock I go to Walmart, and it would be 80% foreigners that I've never seen. Again, I'm in a small town, and all I'm got two shopping carts filled to the brim. Where these people live at, there's only but so much industry here. Where they come from, and it's always at night, right? So and I've seen these people in social service coming out of the back, not where the regular Americans be going, coming out of the back with their whole families and they smiling ear to ear. You feel me? They was incentivized right before the presidential election. There was a plethora of content online about how Americans were saying they're giving them $5,000 debit cards. I can't get no help. The people in Asheville, North Carolina, they only got 750. but they're giving them no, loans for homes with no, social security number. I don't even know how you do that. You know what I'm saying? So they incentivize the people to come over here. That's why the illegal immigration was a problem, but they wanted the problem. So they bait them in with social service, cheaper labor, all the businesses, painting, roofing, and all that. They would, man, you go to Home Depot, get a squad of Hispanics, you know what I mean? Da da da. So they like, all right, we live high on the hub. We send money home. We do whoop, 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 right? But then to turn around and spend the block on them. Hey, Israelite woman, how you doing? Then to turn around and spend the block on them, then create public sentiment to have a disdain for these very same people you wanted over here, and now they're locking them up in essentially a concentration camp. See, this is where the game get real intricate, right? Because I want to leave. I'm just not permitted for whatever reason. I've tried numerous times, right? And the brother Truth Unedited highlighted this when I seen his video last night, right? Where we're fighting to stay in a crumbling society system, right? Not, and if we're fighting to stay somewhere we shouldn't, we'll mess around and miss the mark when it's spiritually time for us to have the second Exodus. Coupled with the fact we have a concentration camp being set up on American soil. And because of maybe, trying to hold your family together, finance, and so on and so forth, I'm kind of the same, like, and in reality, like when it says, when we got displaced out of our homeland, that no man will, buy you or redeem you, can't nobody save these people, even if we wanted to. Now, let's say I'm in a small town, ICE come around or whatever, and they look very nefarious. You can't even tell them people official or are they just people putting on ICE stuff. And this really gets real tricky, as we go into this darkness of satanic dealings with people and not seeing them as human or anything along. Hey, what's up, Bryce? What's happening with it? Bryce say the rules of the game change every second in America. I've talked about how they just keep moving the goalposts. That's why I'm all for achieving certain personal, goal for you and your family or whatever. But even with that goal, can it stop what's happening spiritually? Like, segue, in the first Exodus, right? They were actually in Egypt when all the plagues were happening. They were just unaffected. You know what I mean? So now my prayer isn't so much to leave this place, it's to be spiritually, disciplined enough for the Most High to deem me worthy enough for him to protect me as everything fall apart around me. Just like, I don't know, I see the reoccurring theme, and let's say, the story of Noah. Everything happened around it. He was just saved in it. You know what I'm saying? And just for the human plight, I do feel some type of way because then people got duped. Like Negroes get duped. No different than how they duped their sisters into claiming you don't need a man and we'll give you this money and whoop de whoop de whoop. Now our communities are destroyed. And then as time proceed on, with the rhetoric online or whatever you've seen personally, no one's coming to save the sisters because now they view them as a liability. You know what I mean? I love the sisters, but they just too dangerous. You know what I'm saying? In just a general sense of, because they've been reprogrammed by the system. And not only have they been reprogrammed by the system, what I was talking about earlier with Jay-Z and all them, they've passed that knowledge on. So now your kids are programmed to some degree. If you don't have some type of righteous influence, you know what I'm saying? It's real in the battlefield, Jack. Good God of mercy, man. But I'm under the belief we still have time to get it right. We still have to, not that I'm gonna drag my feet, we still got time to get it right. We still got time to get our families in order. You know what I mean? Because I'm of the belief, even with the Iran stuff and all that, man lied talking about he lying on that crazy Trump lying on his missiles. Ain't that about something? So I don't think, when they say wars, the end won't come yet. You know what I mean? We're gonna see, like, I believe, we're gonna see a rampant falling apart of society before we're pulled out of this. You know what I'm saying? So expect for society to get worse. Expect for the character of people to get more egregious. The talking points online. Man, let me get into this one. And this is just like a guidepost along the oblivion that this country is headed to, where now the new trending, I guess, person that wants to be interviewed are male sex workers. Everybody want to know what goes on at freak offs and who'd you hit and were these other men involved and all this. Man, come on, cuz. And this is now, because of P. Diddy, this is now common talking points or knowledge among middle middle school age children. They're now privy to baby oil and sodomy and orgies like the Bible said in the last times in this here, man. That's crazy. Brother Bryce said a part of the protection of spiritual consciousness of what's going on, no longer grading them by the hardware, but more importantly the software, their message. And it seemed like spiritually through maybe not having a love for the truth, everyone, not of course not everyone, but in general, the mass society has been infected with a software virus that probably can't be cleaned out, if not for the most high. And speaking for myself, right? The version of myself now was actually brought about through pain and suffering based on on the consequence of my actions. Typically, if there's no consequence for your action, you'll continue on to do whatever because there's nothing to stop you. And like even with drinking and stuff like that for the longest, I'm like, yo, I need to stop. But it wasn't until my situation got no bad, I had no choice to address it and then get better. You know what I'm saying? So discipline is actually a good thing. Shame is actually a good thing. What I'm saying now is a lack of shame. What I'm saying now is intellectual nothingness that's celebrated. You know what I mean? Like I said, supposedly based on what my homeboy said, I don't know if anybody heard this when it came in here. Now I live in a town called Cambridge, Maryland, right? Which is one of the epicenters of the Underground Railroad between Dorchester County, the county I live in now, Talbot County, the county where I'm from, which had Frederick Douglass. We here had Harriet Tubman. Now there might be some talking points about were those people really whatever, whatever, whatever. I'll leave that for a different discussion on a different day, right? But it is a very historic town based on that. Then maybe in the '90s with the dope game, Jay-Z, Sean Carter was here. Known before he blew up, he would go rap at the Elks, the Soldier, woo woo. The brother D Haven talks about this. So someone that I work with, and we're about the same age. We play ball against each other, whatever. Because my town and this town were actually rivals. So one of the guys who was linked in with Jay-Z, who I believe just kind of got jammed up doing something. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But he takes a picture with Jay-Z saying 30 years. I might post the picture when I finish the live or whatever. We're still standing 30 years strong. And somehow that has lifted the morale of the town, right? When the town is in poverty and there's gang violence between this town and a town over in Delaware that's like 40 minutes away. But this town has to probably be the unaliving capital per capita of people outside of Baltimore City. But this is what we're celebrating, coupled with the fact the man has no influence or whatever. Or just like you see how these billionaires, they don't change, like they don't start entrepreneur programs for the young homies or a girls club to teach them, I don't know, how to be wise or feminine or graceful, elegant. You understand me? They just take a picture, again, a symbolic victory, and now everybody, like Juneteenth, we celebrate a day that we got lied to about being free, and then they give us a holiday to celebrate death. Huh? That's why I just don't be, and I get it, day off, whatever. Yeah, but I'm tired of the symbolic victories. The only change that I can truly affect is the change I got control over, which is me, my household, my family, and that's it. Who was that? I think Joshua, who said, as for me and my household, we're gonna serve the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And by no means do that mean I'm perfect or I don't make mistakes. I still got ways to strive. I'm always looking to improve. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for information that'll change my life financially or fake fiat currency. Let me do another extra 15 minutes of calisthenics. Let me read an extra 10 minutes in the morning before I get my day started. You understand? A great change has been built off making, small foundational changes consistently to my daily regimen and routine. You know what I'm saying? And as I've done that, I've grown, I've evolved. I've gotten a whole lot better with it. But I understand the world ain't to be fooled with, and the average person I meet in the world is of the world. So I don't get all bent out of shape now. I wish it were different, but I don't get all bent out of shape now when worldly people operate in a worldly way. I just got the wisdom enough to stay away from them. Or let's say they're quote unquote in the world, but they're trending out of it. based on a spiritual feeling. So I may plant a seed. I say, one man, no, one man plant, one man plant, one man water, but y'all get an increase. It took me years to actually operate in what I already knew because of my proclivities or my attachment to the world, whether it be friendships or maybe certain habits, kind of kept me stuck in something, but not truly being able to break free because I didn't understand what it meant on this side, the isolation, the discipline. It's not fun. Now I'm turning it out of fun. I want purpose now. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's going on, Farrah? How you doing? Peace and blessings to you. Um, it's nothing to be vexed about. Even in, let's say, I don't know what everybody, because I see a plethora of content about, homelessness and people losing their jobs, relationship breaking and all that. And I've been through that a plethora of times, you know what I'm saying? As far as just being down and out and destitute financially or resource wise, what I'm able to do and facilitate. Um, but as long as I accepted it while doing what I can do on a daily basis, it made it manageable. His grace and mercy was in it. So I'm homeless, but I don't necessarily look homeless. I don't act homeless. I don't do the stuff you see other homeless people do. You know what I'm saying? Somehow my needs were met. You know what I mean? I might not have a whole lot, but I got enough to sustain and maintain just for the day, like they say in NAAA. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of moved out of the space of, and it may still happen, it just won't happen in my time. And now I practice a certain level of acceptance that at the appointed time, everything gonna bust loose for the kid. I routinely dream, just be totally transparent and honest with y'all, right? I truly believe of like, I still got love for the community or just people in general, right? But I kind of gotta, you know what I'm saying? Because I understand where they at with it. You know what I mean? But it pains me to see the community in the way it's in or us take pride in stuff that we wouldn't want to tell our kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, okay, I tell my daughter I sold drugs or I was a drunkard or what. Why would I? And say it in a glorification purpose. You know what I'm saying? Outside of, yeah, I used to do all that. And then the Most High got a hold of me. And now I'm in your life. And now, woo, 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 woo. You know what I'm saying? Pharaoh said we had the Most High. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I now see that's really all you need. And not to say it to be cliches or facetious. What else is there? You know what I'm saying? What else? Everything else is sink or sand, whether it be the politics. Even if you're aligned with certain people or you get a benefit, let's say I'm part of the Democratic Party and, I get donors or whatever, whatever. The Democratic Party ain't gonna save you. Because what happens, especially in, let's say the plagues of Egypt start hitting here, right? They're gonna turn on each other. We see it in, let's say, the hood, where groups of friends are turning on each other or snitching on each other. We see it in the church house. You know what I'm saying? When people have doctrinal differences or one doctrinal difference, and now we're sworn enemies for life. You know what I'm saying? Negating, let's say, 10 years of a solid bond of friendship. You know what I'm saying? People can't, I don't know, like I got partners where we don't agree on everything. I don't know nobody agree on everything. But that don't mean I hate you or that's something that you know what I mean? We can't work together. Um we can't let go of minimal slights. You know what I'm saying? Everything is up and it's stuck and it's like that forever. You know how they say, if we all practice an eye for an eye, the whole world be blind. I've committed, some great uh, shameful acts, you know what I'm saying? And I've since made amends like years ago and all that. But it's not like I'm some holy anointed one thou and you know what I mean? Like I don't struggle with stuff or I ain't, or sometimes I tend to overthink on this, that, and the third or whatever the case may be. I just catch it, realize I'm doing it, and just get better at it. That's all I'm concerned with, just getting better at it. Now there's a positive aspect for other people who may be like my social circle, my family, whatever, whatever. But this is for me in reverence to the Most High who saved me, not from the world. He saved me from me. It wasn't the world. He had to save me from my own thoughts. Segue, please, like I go back to the community talking point. And I've done this where I've taken up the cause for, let's say, community or whatever the case may be. And then I'm fighting a good fight, but the same community is not willing to fight the same way. And then they'll actually turn on me because they want whatever the system can give them. You know what I'm saying? And that wasn't even my fight. I was just angered by it. Any oppression or anything like that, no matter who it is, I'm gonna feel some type of way, and I'm gonna feel the need to take up the cause. They say evil can only prevail when good men do nothing. I've actually went through more hell doing what's right, dealing with people, than I ever had when I was bamboozling. It's crazy how when I used to bamboozle people, it seemed like they loved me more. I forgot what third that's called. Fair say you gotta learn from your mistakes. Or you'll be in my case, where you'll just keep repeating it till you do get it. You'll keep taking the same, you'll stay in the same grade till you pass the test to get to the next grade. So in relation to just my personal journey, I had to go through all the stuff that typically tripped me up. But once I got through it, or didn't use drugs to deal with it, or didn't bamboozle nobody to put myself in a better position, it was no longer an issue. And then I got the ball rolling. Now he can teach me, how the word talk about like starting off with milk per se. Now I can get to solid food, like what I'm talking about now. You know what I'm saying? Being patient, long suffering. You know what I mean? I've read it 1,000 times, but I ain't think nothing about nothing. You say my video blur? It look pretty clear on my end. I don't know. It might be because maybe it's getting a little dark in here. Everything good with the audio video? I pray so. But I just wanted to tap. I hadn't done a live in a little bit. And I just wanted to tap in with the good. I appreciate y'all for supporting. Um, I pray my words, help you, and whatever it is, because we all dealing with something. And that's another thing. I'm just so used to dealing with stuff. It's mostly like a water off a duck back. But now I look at it is all things work for the good of those who are called by the Most High and are called according to His purpose. So whatever I've gone through, let's say in 2 years without consistently working. Okay, appreciate it. Okay. As long as the message get conveyed, what I've gone through, like not consistently working, I now have the experience of the word taken where He's able to uphold me with the right of His right hand, because I believe it was Spirit that told me to leave because my principles were being put in question. You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay. I guess we'll deal with it. So I appreciate that, Miss Pearl. Long as the audio is good, that's all that really matters. So I wouldn't know that and be able to operate in that had He not walked me through that. Or I forgot what verse it's in. I don't got my word with me, but it said like I will walk you through the fire. You know what I'm saying? Or how David said, "Yea," especially in the Negro, we walk through the valley of the shadow of death every day. But I'm not going to fear no evil. I'm just going to be wise enough to stay away from the evil. Because let's say I'm on the street or whatever, and something happened. What am I doing on the street? What purpose do I have out there? What am I looking for? What is in the street for me? Unless I'm helping or giving out food or pushing hope or something like that. Just standing on the street. That's crazy. I'm Lord's willing, September I'll be 43. I got, child, got business I'm trying to do, and, just trying to, clear up or asking for clarity on the vision so I know I'm moving in the right way. You got time to do all that. Like, it was 4th of July. I refuse to go outside. Now I live by like maybe an hour and a half from a beach resort here in Maryland. And whereas though, man, I see all this news, everybody fighting, everybody shooting and all that. Man, I knew they were gonna act a fool. And that's another thing. When groupings of people like football games, it's I don't know, it's something in the energy. Or how they say like with Travis Scott and these various concerts and they kind of be uh unwitting participants in satanic rituals, you understand? And then whereas though like people are falling out or saying they're seeing stuff and having cardiac arrest and all that. The world is so sin riddled that like in the Marvel joint, the multiverse, worlds or dimensions are blending at this point. Yeah, I always stay home, or I go somewhere in nature. I'm not fooling with that, and I don't get nothing out of it. Again, what are we sub? Independence Day, and ain't none of us free. It's almost a slap in the face, and that's another thing I'm saying. It's like the double talk or the wordplay. We have Independence Day, where you're less free than you've ever been, whether it be financially or how they're always coming out with these rules and restrictions. You don't have any rights no more. You have given privileges right now, but they might take it away from you, blame somebody else, and then you'll be like, yeah, I don't need no more rights. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's almost um, it's like a psychological spell cast that has been done using the crystal ball of your phone or your TV or whoever rap and sing these various songs. Where I don't know, I can't put myself in nobody's mind, but even when I used to drink and I smoke weed and do all that there, I would still be by myself like, yo, don't none of this make sense, yo. The rig financial gain. The rig, I've talked about this, how everything in Babylon is overinflated. But true value is purposefully or artificially kept low, if that make any sense. Um, like the housing market's overinflated, the dating market's overinflated. So you're paying more for something that's not worth its value. But those things that actually have value, they convince you they have no value, and to get you to see ain't no value in it. Like a man who's trending towards righteousness, a hard work. Like if you think about in the overinflated dating world, right? Just viewing it through the lens of social media and people I know personally, the good man, or not when you say the good man, the man who operates in the way a man is supposed to be, like he work hard, he sacrifice for his family and all that, he get done the worst. The worst of men are getting the best of treatment from the worst of women. Watch out there now. Farrah says, I've always questioned, even when I was in the world. I was the same way. Even back when I was in school. I'm like, I get it, but don't none of this make no sense. I always go back to this one. The Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory essentially what? Nothing ran into nothing at a high rate of speed and created everything we know and all the laws that govern it. That sounds more cockamamie to me than these, intellectualists who say there is no God. There's no intelligent design. You know what I'm saying? But yet I digress. But I think, and I saw like what they call a meme that was talking about, let's say, the school system or how you view society. Like I always kind of felt like an outsider. Now I can move and groove because I have personal skills and all that. But I'm like, I've been all excuse me. I guess I had the word talk about being in the wilderness of people. I've always been looking to find my lane. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think my lane, or nor, even when I was in school, I'm like, I don't see myself being no, corporate guy. Because then you got to get all, tucked in and all this here. And, hey, Bob, how's it doing? You got to be all fake and all that. Man, that don't work. And even if I tried to do it, it ain't going to last long. Because the real me going to come out. I don't even think corporatized business is the way the Most High want, where it's basically exploitation of the workers. But the people at the top don't do none of the work. And a lot of times they don't even know how to do the work. They just know how to manage the systems that other people that they hire know how to do. You know what I mean? The educational system, I've come to discover all that as I've cleaned up my eye, is meant to kind of curtail critical thought and just individuality. You know what I mean? Um, your job, like everything is just meant to. And now understand this to be a corporation in application where we don't need you think. Or when they tell LeBron, shut up and just dribble, we don't need you think. Just do what we pay you to do. But we don't want to hear what you say. But you don't own my mouth. I say what I want to say. I heard a brother, the TK, I posted this on my community page when I was talking about P. Diddy and them, right? Now, TK Kirkland, the comedian, he has been saying these stories about, people passing his homeboy money for the Biggie, Unalive, and Tupac, this, that, and the third. He was just on Shannon Sharp yesterday talking about, and I didn't actually watch the video, but he was saying, he was telling the story again. But again, he's not hauled into court. But you've been saying for the last 20 years that the point who's now dead got money to give to the Crips. You know what I'm saying? For the Biggie or Tupac thing and all that. But you're not hauled into court. But you freely tell these stories. What, like, the judicial system it's a neo-feudal system at this point, where the rules apply differently based on, like, nobody from the Epstein joint went to jail. From the January 6th riot, none of them went to jail. What else? Whatever they did in Benghazi, ain't none of them people been in jail. Ain't none of them Catholic pedophile, what them peoples is, priests and all that, ain't none of them been in jail. You know what I'm saying, me? Nobody going to jail. Go to jail? Common folk like you and me. That's who go to jail. And then they might rush around and put you in jail under false pretenses. But they get to break the law, and because of who they are, whatever organization attached to, you know what I'm saying? They get to go on about their business. Just like now, alternative sex acts. Now, we all know about it because they promote it. But now the detailing of orgies and Romanized ritualistic sex, satanic sex, is now common knowledge in 2025. And that's what the man trial was for. It was to bring that to light, not to put the man in jail. He might get a little whoop, but then Trump will probably. But again, he don't go to jail for blowing up the man's car, or all these other people saying, the brother from Aunt Glizzy from DC say he said Diddy hung Wale over a balcony or something. You know what I'm saying? He don't go to jail for none of that. He's not. It's real. It's real in the battlefield. They are protected by the system. Yep, because they are a part of the system. No different than, let's say, even with the little thing I went through with child support, which the Most High gave me the victory. And sometimes you'll know stuff intellectually, but you won't know it till you go through it. Where child support, the judge, and all that. I'm still trying to figure out how I got custody because I wasn't able to present my evidence. But nobody cared about my daughter, mother, the father, because they're actually the gatekeeper for what we see in the black community. You know what I'm saying? The Greeks all, yeah, HBCU being, that never made no sense to me when I was in school. First said about the Greeks and all that. I'm like, I go to a black college, but then I pledge Greek. And I was talking to a partner of mine yesterday about how all of your black national organizations are funded and spearheaded at the top by, let's say, a Democratic Party, or like, all black people are Democrat now. But back in the day, it was reversed, where prior to Martin Luther King, they were all Republicans. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they just keep, it's like WWE, where, at one point, The Rock was a bad guy, and then they changed the story script. Now you're a good guy, now you like it. You know what I'm saying? They just, like Shakespeare said, this is all theater at this point. I don't even know if Trump actually shot anything over there. The Iranian people say he didn't do that. He just hopped on TV and said, I blew up some some nuclear missile silos. First off, if you blew them up, wouldn't that cause radiation? And wouldn't that negatively affect Israel since they're so close together? Man, they just tell you anything. That's why I stopped listening to them. Because I'm not trying to disseminate what the truth is. The truth is everybody lying. And on that note, I got some few things to do today. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Channel update. Had a work change at work. So I will be able to probably go more live probably between 4:30 and 6:30, and I'll be, because I'm at work, I multitask at work, so I actually be able to put down notes and not freestyle, but really do an itemized, because I used to write essays in school, and I'm pretty good at that, and breaking down, why I feel the way I feel, why I see it the way I see it. You know what I mean? I want to thank everybody, Farrah, let me see what I got, Miss Pearl, of course, always, when I make it big, I ain't forget you. My man Bryce, who else I got? Oh, my man, uh, H Long, man, I appreciate y'all for appreciating me. And on that note, I'm gonna sign off. One love, baby. Don't get bamboozled out here. And when in doubt, just assume they lying.